This man was a national hero who had single-handedly crushed a rebellion and saved the kingdom, yet the king rewarded him by exiling him to a barren, remote grassland to serve as its lord. What nobody expected was that after he left, the kingdom was plunged into war once again. The princess personally traveled to his doorstep, begging him to come out of retirement and put down the new uprising. As payment, she offered herself or any noblewoman of his choosing, but Leo turned her down flat because he was already engaged. This sent the princess into a fury. Leo had only been out here on the grasslands for a few days. How on earth could he already have a fiancée? As it turned out, just the day before, Leo had slain a ground dragon. The moment word got around, every single unattached woman in the territory decided he was the one they wanted to marry. The thing was, Leo had only hunted the dragon to use its materials as payment. He wanted to hire the Oni folk to build a well and an outhouse, basic necessities for survival. What he didn't realize was that a ground dragon was worth an absolute fortune. A single claw was more than enough to cover everything he'd asked for. With a mountain of materials left over, the Oni folk decided to return the surplus to him as a bridal gift for his bride-to-be. Emma, her parents were sure to be over the moon. Either way, as far as the tribe was concerned, whether Leo liked it or not, this wedding was happening. After all, Leo was a dragon slayer. You don't make enemies of a man like that, you make allies. Leo tried to explain that he wasn't ready. He barely knew Emma. After all, that's when the other men in the village chimed in, telling him there was nothing to stress about. Emma was already 15, which was the standard marrying age among the Oni folk. Leo's jaw nearly hit the floor. He was 35. He was old enough to be the girl's father, but the Oni folk couldn't have cared less about the age gap. That very evening, the grandest engagement ceremony the tribe had ever seen was thrown in their honor. The whole thing moved so fast that Leo didn't even have time to process what was happening, so he proposed a compromise. They'd stay engaged for 3 years. By then, Emma would meet the kingdom's legal age of adulthood, and he could ask her what she truly wanted. The next morning, the infrastructure he'd traded for with the dragon's claw was already finished and ready to use. Leo was genuinely starting to enjoy life out here. There was just one thing gnawing at him: he was the lord of this land, yet he had not a single citizen to govern. Then Emma came sprinting over with news. A magical trap she'd set up to the east had been triggered. It looked like a human military unit, roughly 10 people. Leo told Emma to cast a concealment spell and went to check it out himself. From 2 miles out, he could already make out 3 cavalry riders, 4 infantry soldiers, and 3 horses, 10 in total. If they turned out to be hostile, a fight could get messy. But just as he braced for a confrontation, he spotted an old friend Jax waving at him. Turns out the group was escorting the kingdom's 3rd princess. They'd been traveling for 2 weeks straight to get here, and they were hoping to get to Leo's manor as quickly as possible to discuss something urgent. This put Leo in an awkward spot. Sure, he'd been appointed lord of this territory, but he had 0 citizens, and the only place he lived was a tent he'd just thrown together. The princess looked puzzled and asked if his manor was still under construction. She couldn't spot a single servant anywhere. Leo told her straight, there was no manor, no servants, just this place. It wasn't much, but he'd built it with his own 2 hands. The princess then asked what had happened to the substantial reward he'd been given for saving the kingdom. Leo looked completely blindsided. When he'd arrived here, he hadn't brought so much as a coin, not even water or food. He'd nearly starved to death. His old friend Jax was seething with rage when he heard this, but with the princess standing right there, he kept it together. Leo steered the conversation back on track and asked the princess what she'd come all this way for, and that brought everything back to the scene from the beginning, when Leo refused her offer. The princess tried to push back, but Leo shut her down again. If there was nothing else to discuss, he told her she was welcome to see herself out. At that point, one of the knights standing nearby had had enough. He couldn't stomach the sight of some commoner born nobody daring to say no to royalty. He went for his sword, fully intending to teach Leo a lesson, but before the blade had even cleared its scabbard, Leo's axe was already swinging. The sword was cut clean in half, and the shockwave left the knight's hand completely numb and useless. Jax watched the whole thing unfold with a casual smirk and remarked that even if everyone present rushed Leo at the same time, they still wouldn't stand a chance. The princess had no cards left to play. She turned and slunk away, furious and humiliated, swearing she'd make Leo pay for the embarrassment. After the princess and her group were gone, Emma dropped the concealment spell. She told Leo that almost everyone in that group had shown up as a dangerous red except for one soldier, who had glowed a calm blue. Leo immediately understood exactly who that blue had been coming from. Several more days slipped by. Leo was deep in a peaceful sleep when Emma's trap magic went off again. This time, there was only one person approaching from the east. Same as before, Leo figured it was probably just a lost traveler and went to check it out. He never expected it to be Jax. Turns out Jax had gotten himself deliberately discharged just so he could come back and serve under Leo. Leo was one of the rare few who had never looked down on Jax for where he came from and on the battlefield. He was the kind of man you could trust to have your back. Leo was genuinely moved, but he still wanted to check with Emma first. Emma stepped out from the shadows right then and there and said she was on board. The man had always shown up as a friendly blue, and just like that, Leo finally had his first soldier. The one-man band had become a band.